The first thing she said wasn't quiet and it wasn't subtle. It was sharp loud, the kind of sentence that slices through a room and makes people pretend they didn't hear it even though everyone did. "I'm not sitting next to him. Get him moved." And just like that, the cabin went still. You know that silence, the kind that isn't peaceful? It's tense, like everyone's holding their breath, waiting to see who's about to get humiliated. I was sitting there, hands folded, staring at the stitching on the seat in front of me, already knowing how this story usually goes, already feeling that familiar weight in my chest that says, "Here we go again." This was supposed to be a simple flight. Early morning, coast to coast, first class, because my body can't handle economy anymore, not after what it's been through. I didn't dress to impress. Faded jacket, old boots, clean, but worn jeans. I wasn't trying to make a statement, just trying to get from point A to point B without my knees screaming the whole way. I boarded early, nodded at the flight attendant, put my bag up myself, sat down, closed my eyes. That was it. No attitude, no drama. Then she arrived. She had that energy, the kind that fills space without permission. Designer, everything. Phone glued to her ear. Voice loud enough to broadcast her importance to strangers. She stopped in the aisle when she saw me like she'd run into a wall. Checked her ticket twice, looked at me again, and then that sentence came out dripping with disgust wrapped in entitlement. She didn't say my name. She didn't ask a question. She decided. In her world, people like me didn't belong up here. The flight attendant tried to smooth it over, bless her. Checked tickets, spoke calmly, did everything right. But logic doesn't work on someone who's already made up their mind. She leaned closer, lowered her voice just enough to make it cruel instead of loud, started listing reasons I was a problem. My clothes, my smell, my scars, said I looked dangerous, said she didn't feel safe. That word, safe, gets used like a weapon sometimes, you know what I mean. She wanted authority without saying the quiet part out loud, so she wrapped it in fear. I kept my mouth shut as long as I could. Years of practice will do that to you. When I finally spoke, it wasn't angry. It was tired. "Ma'am, I'm just trying to rest." That was it. No threat, no challenge, just honesty. And somehow, that set her off even more. She clutched her chest like I'd lunged at her, raised her voice, told anyone who'd listen that I'd threatened her. People started looking. Some annoyed, some suspicious, a couple already convinced. That's the thing about first impressions. Once someone plants a seed, it doesn't take much for it to grow. Security got called. I heard the word before I saw the uniforms. A cold little drop in my stomach. Not fear, exactly more like recognition. The officer approached, hand near his belt, voice firm. Told me to stand up. Told me to show my hands. I moved slow, real slow. When I reached into my jacket for my boarding pass, she screamed that I had a weapon. The cabin snapped. Chairs shifted. Someone gasped. For a split second, I wondered how this would end if someone twitched the wrong way. I pulled out the ticket, held it between my fingers like it was fragile. It was valid. Same seat, same name. That should have ended it. It didn't. She pushed harder, talking about lawsuits, about knowing people, about how she wouldn't fly with someone like me. I saw the flight attendant's hands shaking. I saw the officer weighing his options. And I felt that old familiar choice settle in my bones. Fight it and maybe make it worse, or swallow it and move on. I was already bracing myself to walk off that plane quietly, dignity intact, but pride bruised when the cockpit door opened. The captain stepped out and everything shifted. He didn't yell, didn't rush, just stood there taking it in. His eyes landed on me and I saw it hit him, recognition crashing into memory. His posture changed. He walked down the aisle, stopped in front of me, and did something nobody expected. He stood straight, snapped his heels together, and saluted. Right there in first class, like nothing else existed. The room froze. The officer hesitated. The woman's face drained of color. The captain said my name, my old rank, his voice thick with something that felt a lot like gratitude. We hadn't seen each other in years, but some bonds don't fade. He turned to the officer and said calmly, clearly, that if I was leaving the plane, so was he. That the flight wasn't going anywhere without both of us. Then he told them why. He told them about a night halfway across the world, about a helicopter going down, about fire and smoke and chaos, about being pinned in wreckage convinced he was done, and about someone showing up who wasn't supposed to be there, breaking orders, tearing burning metal apart with bare hands, dragging him out when there was every reason to run the other way. He gestured to my arms when he talked about the scars, and suddenly those scars meant something different to everyone watching. The officer apologized. The tension drained out of his stance. The woman tried one last play, dropped her husband's name, her money, her influence. The captain didn't blink. He handed her a phone and told her to call him. She did, confident at first, until the voice on the other end went quiet when she said my name. Until panic crept into her tone. Until the truth caught up. I didn't enjoy watching her crumble. There was no satisfaction in it. Mostly, I felt tired. In the end, she was moved to the back of the plane middle seat while I stayed put. No applause, just a collective exhale. The flight itself was calm after that. The captain checked in on me. We talked about old times, about friends we'd lost, about how strange life can be. For 8 hours, the world felt smaller, quieter, manageable. What she didn't know was that we were both flying for the same reason. She thought it was business. For me, it was a promise. Someone I owed, someone I cared about, needed help, and I was the only match, rare as it gets. When we landed, she rushed off still burning with resentment, still thinking she'd been wronged. I went my own way, straight to the hospital. She burst into the room like a storm when she found me there, check already in hand, ready to buy her way out of fear. I recognized the look before she recognized me. When it hit her, when she realized who I was and why I was there, her legs gave out. She begged. She apologized. She offered money that could have changed my life 10 times over. I asked her one question, the only one that mattered. Was my blood too dirty for her son? That was the moment everything flipped. Power, control, all gone. I told her the truth. I wasn't doing this for her. I was doing it for the kid. Because kids don't deserve to pay for their parents' blind spots. The procedure wasn't easy. It hurt. But I'd had worse days. When it was over, I got dressed, grabbed my bag, and prepared to leave. She tried to give me the check again. I refused. Told her to put it somewhere useful, somewhere it might actually help. When I walked out, the captain was waiting for me just like old times. She stood there in the rain, holding the remains of a life built on assumptions, finally seeing herself clearly for the first time. So here's where I leave it with you. Was she evil, or just comfortable enough to never question herself until it mattered? Was justice served, or was it just luck that the truth showed up in time? And how many times have you seen something like this play out? Maybe quieter, maybe without a salute and a speech. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know where you land on this because stories like this don't end when the video does. They keep going every time we decide who belongs where.